Welcome to the Leadership TKO podcast, your source of strategies and insight to make you a winning leader. With no further ado, here is your host, Lakeisha McKnight.
All right, everybody. Great evening. Hello, Lakeisha McKnight is here with the Leadership TKO Night Show via podcast. Hello. Excited to be here. Excited to really be before you, to really sow value into your lives. I'm actually right now on the Spreaker platform, and it's 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here in Chesapeake, Virginia, within the United States of America. And so welcome again to the Leadership TKO Night Show via podcast. Before we move any further, go into any background information, as I always do, I am going to be sharing on my profile wall on Facebook because Facebook is the platform I leverage the most. And if we're not connected on Facebook, I do invite you to get connected. Any links that I reference, anything that I reference that I need you to be connected to, that information is going to be in the description area of this podcast. So be sure to wait maybe at least an hour after our live broadcast here, and you'll be able to access the information in the description area. So right now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post join me now as I am empowering. All right. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and post on my timeline, and feel free to share on your timelines as well and invite other potential leaders to join in on tonight. So that was my profile. I am going to also share in a relevant group on Facebook. So let me go ahead and share there in this group. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we are. Okay, so I'm posting in that group. All right. Then I'm also going to post on my fan page. Okay. And I'm going to post on one more fan page, okay? One more fan page, even while we're doing this, because I want to make sure we maximize visibility as much as possible when it comes to tonight's episode. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. Okay. Here we go. All right, everybody. Once again, I thank you so much for being here tonight. Now that we've gotten all of our shares out the way, sharing in relevant places, I do invite you at this particular time to tune in. I want to give you a little bit of backdrop. For those of you who are new to this podcast, maybe you've been connected for some time. You've probably heard this time and time again. But Leadership TKO, the Night Show via podcast, is one of two podcasts on this platform. The other podcast is the Revitalize the Total Woman podcast that's connected to a nonprofit for women. All right. And that podcast airs on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So feel free, of course, to come back to the station and listen to that particular podcast show. We indeed welcome you to do so. But these podcasts are part of the Leadership TKO internet radio station. And if you're hearing a little bit of a ding sound, it's because, of course, there's the social media stuff going on. So we do apologize for that. But this particular station is a part or one of the subdivisions within the Leadership TKO, the brand. Okay, so we have this brand that's steadily growing, has many I don't want to say denominations, but many subdivisions to it. And that's just one of them. Okay. Now we do have, Leadership TKO for authors, Leadership TKO for speakers. We have various subdivisions, but tonight, of course, this podcast is a part of the Leadership TKO internet radio station. All right. Now with Leadership TKO, the brand itself, what we do is we partner up with associations, universities, small businesses or entrepreneurs, and faith-based groups to build winning leaders. And we do this, in different ways, by way of written word that some of you may be talented in doing or utilizing, spoken word as speakers, and in other various different types of ways. Okay. But those are just two that I really want to highlight. So if you want to learn more about Leadership TKO, I do invite you to check out our website, which is www.leadershiptko.com. The other aspect is with this brand, Leadership TKO, it is housed and legally protected by an LLC. And the name of the company is the iLead Company. iLead is an acronym, and it's ILEAD, which stands for International Leadership Education and Development. Okay, so we provide education and we provide developmental products or services that's really going to help you to thrive. So leadership development products, and then we have leadership education in the form of maybe, of course, conferences and seminars that we host as it pertains to leadership. And then when it comes to leadership development, of course, that could involve consulting, coaching, and maybe ebooks and audio products and videos that we do provide. All right. So if you want to learn more about this company that protects the brand, we do invite you to visit the website for that, which is ileadcompany.com, ileadcompany.com. All right. Now, with this podcast, we have certain topics we cover throughout the week, because with this podcast, we hear from Sundays through Friday at 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right now, it's about 9:07 p.m. and it is Tuesday, November 21st. Again, we're leveraging the Spreaker platform. And so on Tuesdays, which is today, right now, it is what we call Authorship Tuesday. So what we do is we help those of you who have the desire to write or publish. We allow you to use written word so that you'll be able to grow your influence, your impact, and your income. And so we teach you how to do that on this particular day. All right. So I can tell you that if you, out of anything that you heard or will hear, if anything touches you, if anything empowers you, inspires you, we want you to hit what we call the heart button on the Spreaker platform. So you have to be on the platform to hit the heart button. If you can hear me clearly, hit the heart button. If you enjoy anything, hit the heart button. Let that heart beat red. We want to know that you're alive out there and well. And if you enjoy anything, you want to chime in with a question or a comment, you can always do that in our chat area while we're live. Okay. So I will tell you, let's dive into the content right now. All right. So one thing I will tell you, right, is that we've been focusing in on helping those of you who sometimes get a little stuck. And I know sometimes we all get into this stuck rut. Like we're just trying to figure out how in the world can I get out of this? It seems like you get to a point where it's just like you're stuck. You're looking at the paper and it's like, oh my gosh, how do I move from here? What is the next step? Like, God, I need you to help me. Like you start praying at this particular point. You're like, I'm stuck. I've been working on this book for like a year. Can't seem to get anywhere with it. I really want to publish it. Is that you? Do you feel that you're stuck in a rut? As an author, and you really, really, really want to publish the book. Maybe some pages that you've really been writing and kind of fiddling with for the last couple of years. It's really time to get it done. But there's some things that you can do to help you to overcome writer's block. And we're going to talk about some of those things right now. So I'm going to go and try to pick up my handy dandy list right now. So let me go and let me find my little list. And I'm going to highlight just a couple of those tips that I have for you tonight. And actually, it's about 10 of them. I started highlighting some of those tips on my timeline. Feel free to do that. If you want to connect with me on Instagram, you can do that as well. And so, again, these are just a couple of tips that I just want to share. Number one that I noted is you want to accept it. Okay. Relax and do something unrelated for a little while. Sometimes you just need to get your mind off of what you're focusing in on and then regroup and then get back to it. Sometimes that works. Okay. It may not work for everyone. Just going to say that, because I don't want you to say, well, I tried this, Lakeisha, and it just didn't work. But I'm just giving you some strategies that have worked for myself and some others. Number two, how about talk it on paper? That's right, your thoughts, what you're trying to get across. Talk it on paper by talking aloud as you're typing. Sometimes I do this anyway. That way, I can quickly pick up on typos, make sure I'm not overlooking a word or two that I didn't include, or maybe I didn't say something or type something the right way. I'm able to easily pick up on it because I'm talking it out as well. So talk it on paper. Number 3, help, or I should say, hire help to draft sections that are challenging to you. So maybe you just can't get through it because, it's just not your particular forte. That particular subtopic is not something you're well knowledgeable on. Well, what you can simply do is just hire someone to draft that section for you, maybe a ghostwriter. I don't know if you've heard of ghostwriting before, where someone actually, you give them a concept or a central thought, they go and write like a super duper long essay on that thought, and it can be used as a part of your book. Okay. Number 4, record, then transcribe the parts that are difficult. Okay. So simply record your thoughts. It may not be that you can just type it all out on paper, but record it. Some people prefer to do that rather than sitting there and just typing away. Number 5, use dictation software. And there are many out there. I don't really want to highlight specific brands because I don't want there to be an issue. But if you do want this resource that I'm referring to, I do invite you to send me a message. That way I can tell you what it is. But because this podcast is growing by leaps and bounds, I don't want there to be any legal issues by mentioning specific companies within our podcast, within any of our content. So definitely get with me if you need to know examples of dictation software. This is software that would actually allow you to type your audio words right in onto a document like a Word doc. Okay. Number 6, use a text processor instead of a word processor. You'll really stay in your creative writing brain rather than your analytical editing side. Okay. So a text processor, it just allows you just to kind of write text. You don't have to worry about trying to edit anything or whether something looks right because it's allowing you to skip a space. You're just typing away. Number 7, skip around a little bit. Okay. Writing the parts that seem really easy today. So maybe it's like, man, you're like, I can't really think about this topic. It's going to require a lot of energy from you. So maybe go to another part in the book because this is the reason why you've maybe put together like a skeleton of your book. And it helps to do that. That way, if you do have a moment where you need to skip around, you're able to do that. Number 8, write on standard pieces of your work that don't require creativity. So if there's another part of your book where it's just like kind of like standard, get this part done, like the conclusion of your book or the introduction of your book, or even if it's your bio, you need to go back and edit that. Other parts that's just really standard that you really need to include, go ahead and do that. That way, again, it takes your mind off of the fact that you're stuck on a specific spot. Okay? Work on standard pieces. Number 9, ask someone to interview you on the topic. Sometimes it's better to just answer a question rather than sitting there trying to spill all of your knowledge by typing it all in. Sometimes, it's good to just kind of talk and allow your thoughts to flow by answering a question asked by someone else, like you're having dialogue, because it may come easier for you that way. And then the last tip that I really want to provide for you is just keep writing. Write about the blocks you have, how you're struggling, and what you had for lunch. Write anything, but just really keep writing. Don't sit there and just say, I can't do it anymore. This is not working for me. Don't do that. Avoid that by all means necessary. Do not worry about, your stuck moments. Just try to get through the rut by just writing. Write, my friend. Write. Don't let these stumbling blocks prevent you from making a difference and influence and impacting lives. Get through the rut. Implement those particular tips that I've recommended for you tonight. And through this episode, you will overcome writer's block. You will do so. Okay. I will also share with you that, on Facebook, we do have some interest groups like where there are multiple authors inside of the group that, they're in various levels, they're doing different things. So, go ahead and, inside of the description area of this episode, there's going to be a link there. So you'll be able to access the interest group and request to join the group. That way you can get additional help beyond just tonight's podcast episode. And there are other things that we do. We go live on the fan page. We went live today, and I provided some tips, via the fan page. So you want to also get connected to the fan page, which will also be in the description area of this podcast. So you can just click on the link and follow the fan page on Facebook. I will also note that for those of you ladies, if you're looking for more exposure for your books, you have the wonderful opportunity to gain support, to connect with other women, even potentially share about your book within a campaign. Now, the name of the campaign is the Born to Lead Global Women's Leadership Campaign. And this is a leadership campaign that started, I would say, at the end of February, early March of this year. And we welcome you to go ahead and get connected to this campaign. It's absolutely free because there are many, many women who are seeking to just continue on this road called success and to grow personally and professionally. So we indeed invite you. We invite you to go ahead and get connected. And the way to do this is by visiting a website. It is www.borntolead2018.com. Again, that's www.borntolead2018.com. Okay. And so definitely get connected, everybody. Ladies, tell your other sister friends, your colleagues, your business friends about this campaign. And it's not another club. It's not another organization because we're not concerned as we're going into 2018. We're not concerned about numbers, but we're concerned about quality and the lives that are going to be changed. So we love for you to be on board. Again, that's borntolead2018.com is the website. Go ahead and register, get locked in. We can't wait, of course, to continue to sow into your lives throughout the rest of this year and as we transition into 2018. All right, everybody. So it looks like I've covered all that I needed to cover during this episode today. All right. So, of course, this marks the conclusion here on the podcast of this episode. Remember, we're going to be continuing with our schedule on tomorrow. Tomorrow is Winning Leader Wednesday. We're going to go over some leadership strategies. OK, because as you enhance your leadership ability, you will be able to enhance your ability to succeed in your profession, whether as an entrepreneur or as a corporate leader or as a mom. OK, as a mom. So definitely get plugged in, remain plugged in, or father, I should say, for those fellas listening. All right. Remember to get plugged in. Share this podcast with other men and women that you know. That way you can help them to grow as leaders as well. And I want to stay right now that I'm going to call out a couple of countries, and I appreciate you all being connected. Mexico. Thank you so much, my Mexican male friends and my sister friends, my lady friends. Thank you so much for being connected here. Those of you from the Ukraine, the United Kingdom, Nigeria, South Africa, Canada, of course, throughout the United States, the Virgin Islands, Norway, Sweden, Hungary, Peru, Croatia, France. We thank you so very much. Italy, thank you so very much for being connected to this podcast. Please go ahead. Please share this podcast once again with other people you know. Get them on. I would love to see your stats, your percentage increase for your country. It lets us know that you want to help develop leaders out of the men and the women in your country. Get them to listen to this podcast. We appreciate you. And even as you're here and as you're listening in, hit the heart button. Let us know that you've heard the podcast episode and that you've enjoyed it. All right. We're going to be having some gifts gradually for those of you in various countries. So stay tuned for that. I'll reveal to you when that's made available for you. Okay. But thank you so much, everyone. Be blessed. And remember, until tomorrow at 9:00 p.m., I do encourage you to think, to speak, and to live leadership.
Thanks for listening to the Leadership TKO podcast. To continue the conversation of how to take your leadership from good to great, visit www.leadershiptko.com. leadershiptko.com.